So your booster box becomes $500, $1,000. That's great, but can you sell it? This is a problem a lot of people like to talk about with expensive booster boxes, that it is hard to sell. A lot of people say, it's great that your booster box is worth $500,000, but who's really willing to spend that much on Pokemon? Well, if you really look at the data and look at the sales of older product that is very expensive, that has appreciated a lot over time, you may be very surprised to find that a lot of these booster boxes sell every single day. So obviously, I'm not saying a $100 booster box is going to sell less than a $500 booster box. Obviously, the cheaper a product is, the more likely more people are willing to buy it because of the price point. However, with these older, more collectible boxes that are in the $500, $1,000 range, even towards $2,000, $3,000, they still sell pretty frequently. So this whole idea that when a booster box gets to even $200 or $300, people talk about liquidity, saying that not as many people are going to buy it. But when you look at these boxes that are $500 to $1,000, they still sell almost every single day. So when people bring up this issue of liquidity, yes, it's not going to be as easy to sell, but if you sell it for market or a little bit under market, someone will be willing to buy it. There's plenty of sales data for a lot of these older products that are around this price range that I want to show you guys here today. So if you do happen to have a booster box in the future that becomes around this price range, I really wouldn't worry too much about not being able to sell it, because there's plenty of examples, especially from Sun and Moon, that the sets are around 5 to 8 years old, that we can kind of compare and see how easy or how hard it is for these things to sell. But you will see from the data that I'm going to show you that a lot of these boxes sell pretty much every single day. So the first box I'm going to show you is Unbroken Bonds. Obviously, this is not the most popular set. This is kind of like mid-tier tag team set in my opinion, but it is doing pretty well. You can see a lot of these Sun and Moon boxes, they actually have been going up in the past year. This one's at around $670, but market price on TCG Player for older boxes is not very reliable. So your best bet is to go on eBay, because that's where a lot of sales data is for these older boxes. And you will see that a lot of these boxes sell. So one just sold recently for $660. You keep scrolling down and we're looking at the dates here. This is maybe not a real sale because of the, obviously $400 is really cheap and there's only one bid and all these other things. So keep scrolling till we find the next one. You can see here one sold a few days ago, almost a week ago, for $665. Keep scrolling. This one sold another week ago, like for $700 something dollars. This one sold for around $700 there. And you keep going back, and I'm not going to keep, scrolling, but you can see here, they don't sell that infrequently. It's about every week, maybe a few sell. And you got to imagine too, not everyone listing these boxes too are listing them at market price. A lot of people for these older products like to overprice their stuff, which is why sales data may actually be lower than what it should be, because a lot of people are overcharging for their boxes, because when they get to this price point, there's a good amount of scarcity out there. Like there's not just a huge abundance of this product. So people are, have it priced more than market price. That's not unreasonable to do. So that's why I feel also why some of these boxes don't have that many sales. But if everyone were selling around the market price, I feel like there would be a lot more sales data. But still, for this box being $600, $700, there's still a decent amount of sales on eBay. And you gotta imagine, this is not the only platform people are selling on. People are selling on different platforms as well. But just from eBay alone, you can see this sells pretty often for what it is. Next here we have Cosmic Eclipse. Now Cosmic Eclipse has done very well. You can see this box is almost $1,000 now. This is one of the best tag team sets in Sun and Moon. I think that's pretty agreed on, especially you can see with the price of the booster box. And when we go to eBay to look at the sales, there's even more sales for Cosmic Eclipse. I think just because it's more popular of a set than Unbroken Bonds. So you can see here, just yesterday, this sold for $960. Here you can see this one sold for around the same just the day before. And then again by the same seller, sold for almost $1,000 here. See, just a few days before that, there's that, and it keeps going. So you can see this is like $1,000 box. This is not cheap. This is very expensive. Yet when you look at sales data, it sells decently often for what it is. So even at this price point, if it's a popular set, people are still willing to pay. Next, another example I like to really give, because this is not that old of a set. If you really think about it, this set is only 5.5 to 6 years old, and it's at $2,500. That's very expensive, obviously. This is getting to the price point of some XY boxes, some black and white boxes, and it's only 5-6 years old. But it's just really popular, and you'll see that with the sales data. Even though this is that expensive, people are still buying this box. Look, $2,600, $2,700, and look at the dates. Like, these are not that far apart. Like, these sell often enough for what it is. And I think when people get scared that their boxes are getting $300-$400, like who's gonna buy this? Like, am I gonna even be able to sell it? Look at these sales for these really expensive boxes. Like, people buy these boxes. And I'm gonna keep going because at this point I think I've proven what I'm trying to say. But we have Unified Minds here. It's at $735. You scroll down, you can see we have one sold in best offer, so we don't really know what it is. You could probably go to the price chart and figure that out, but you can see, keep scrolling, look at the dates. I mean, these still sell pretty often. Keep scrolling just to show you guys, pretty often. Then we're going to get to an XY box. I didn't get a ton of boxes from each era, but I thought it'd just be pretty redundant. You can probably find the same for Fates Collide, more maybe the mid-tier to like maybe $1,000 boxes of X and Y. They probably sell pretty similar to this Roaring Skies box. Can't see, it's around $600. Go to the sales, same thing. This one sells very often. I've noticed a lot of the lower end in terms of price of XY boxes sell a lot more than like obviously maybe like XY base or something like that. But still, this box sells very frequently. You can see here. And then lastly, another example of a modern box that's very expensive is Evolving Skies. Everyone knows Evolving Skies. This set is only, what, 3-4 years old now. It's at $700, and everyone knows this thing sells every single day. It's $700, and it still sells. There's so much like other like data here, like Evolving Skies is just the search term. But even look, a case here sold for this much. Keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Another one. It's just really, there's a ton of Evolving Skies in all these like search terms, so it's not going to come with just booster boxes. But you can do price charting and search up, Evolving Skies booster box. Honestly, price charting, in my opinion, isn't super accurate all the time. But yeah, they sell very often. So this whole like kind of idea that booster boxes, when it gets to $300-$400, I've heard people say even at $200 that they want to sell out because I want to sell before my box gets illiquid, because at $200 there's still many people want to buy it. Now that is true. Obviously, if you buy a Scarlet Violet of a box, for example, for $100 and it goes up to $200, you can kind of just keep repeating that cycle. Buy for $100, go to $200, sell it, and then buy the new sets for $100. But when there's a box that's really good and the set is good, from the data I've shown you, I wouldn't be worried about trying to sell these boxes even when they're $300, $400, $500, or even $1,000, because you can see from these sets they appreciate very well over time, and you don't want to short sell yourself just because you're saying, you know what, I want to sell at this price point now just to get my profits, and then it'll be easy to sell now. But if you think about it, all these boxes are way above $300, $400, $500. So if you're telling yourself right now, let's say for an example, Storm Shield boxes, let's say you're holding on to maybe some Fusion Strike or Chilling Reign that's low 200s or whatever, Lost Origin, and you're saying, you know what, I want to just sell now to buy more Scarlet Violet because you know what, those are going to be easier to sell right now at $200, but then I can just buy Scarlet Violet now and then sell that later and just repeat that cycle. Now, if that's your game plan, then that's perfectly fine. There's no problem with making money, but don't just let that be the only factor, I would say, in wanting to sell a box, is because you're thinking it's going to be super illiquid at $300, $400, $500, because honestly, it's really not, especially when it's a good set. So that's all I wanted to say today. Definitely, I'm not saying $1,000, $2,000 booster box is going to sell super easily, but if you're selling around market or a little bit under market, I honestly don't think you should have that much of a problem trying to sell it. Yes, it is going to take a little bit longer, but yeah, it still sells decently well. So that's all I wanted to say today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.